Today we're going to talk about how to use a third-party code editor, particularly Visual Studio, to create and edit your CORE HL7 C scripts. Now, the first thing we want to do before we get started is you'll need to go to the online help for whatever scripting program you're using. We're going to be using the CORE HL7 Viewer, version 3.1.5. Go to the online help and download the CORE HL7 Script Sandbox. You'll find it in the same, or in the folder under Using Visual Studio. Once you've downloaded this zip file, just extract it, and I'm just going to put it right on my C drive in that folder and extract. And there it is. It puts this DLL, which we're going to use in a minute, into this folder. And now we'll move on to the next part, which is setting up Visual Studio. For Visual Studio, we're going to be using Visual Studio 2022, the Community Edition. This is the free one. Just go talk, if you don't have Visual Studio, just go talk to the Google, tell it you want to download Visual Studio, and download the Visual Studio Community Edition. It's absolutely free. We're going to start Visual Studio, so we want to create a new project. We want to create a console application that targets the .NET framework. I'll just give it a name, testing. Make sure that it targets the .NET framework 4.6.2, that is optimum, and create our project. And there it is. We're going to do just a few things here before we get started. We're going to nothing, because we can leave that in our script. It will not do anything. And I like to do this, put some comments at the end. This will be apparent why in a minute. And that's done. Now the next thing that we'll want to do is add a reference to our DLL. What do we call it? CORE HL7 Script Sandbox, the CORE HL7 Script Sandbox DLL. And now we're ready to bring in some code. We'll do that next. Since we're going to be starting from scratch, I'm going to go into my CORE HL7 script library in my viewer. Tools, CORE HL7 Scripts, Viewer, Edit Your Script Library. And then I'm just going to create a new script. There it is. I'm going to rename it. Just because I want it to go all the way up to the top of the list. And there that is. I'll save this. And now I'm just going to go look at the code. The first thing we have to do is we want to copy the using area. We're going to copy that. We're going to go to our Visual Studio project, and we're going to paste it here at the top. Oh. Next, we're going to go copy the code in, and that's everything from here all the way to the bottom. And we'll paste it below the main. You're going to get an error at the bottom where it says return new script. Just comment that out, and voila, now we're ready to play. At this point I can make my changes to my script and save it. We'll get into what you can do in a minute. You've got lots of references. Dot, trace, make whatever changes you need to make. We'll get into some more complex scripts in a moment. Once I've done that, all I need to do to edit this is I can just copy it all, go back to my script viewer and say I want to edit the script. So we'll pull up the script editor. It's read only by default. I just check this box and do Control A, Control V. Now I have that modified code. Now, it won't compile. If I try to compile it, it'll give me an error. It says, oh, the last line of your script has to be return new script. And now you'll get to why I put these comments in, because we need to go here, we need to delete the last two to get the program and the namespace out, and we also need to go up to the top and remove the namespace and the program entries. And now it should compile. It will not let you save unless the script will compile. So I'll save it. Now I've got it in there. I'll save my library, and now I can come out, I can go to my C# run, and I can run the new script. It ran 10 times. It didn't do anything. All it did was this. There you can see where it says new item from script. That's the new code that I put in. On the next one, let's look at a more complex script. When using your Visual Studio project, the beautiful part about this is you can use it over and over and over again. You don't have to create a new Visual Studio project just because you want to work on a new script. So what I want to do next is, this is the script we were working on. We're going to look at one that's a little bit more complex and get the code out of here into this. Again, remember what we do. We just copy everything all the way to the bottom, not including the usings. And then we're going to come over to our program and paste it. It's going to give us an error because it says return new script. We're going to comment that out. And let's go up and look at this script and see exactly what it does. This script is designed to process an HL7 message as it comes in. So this is one script. We'll work on one HL7 message. And that's done here with this create initial message. That means that the hosting application is going to pass in a message. We create it. If there's an exception, we just set the completed to true and return. We're done. Then we do some tracing. We're going to set the sending application to CORE HL7. We're going to set the receiving application to script host. This script actually resets the message type and message event. We won't do that. It sets the message control ID to a GUID. That's technically not HL7 compliant, so I can do this. Globals.new message control ID. That'll produce a compliant HL7 compliant message control ID. Next, it gets the PID segment out of the message and sets the patient's last name, that's field 5, component 1 to nobody. It also adds a component at field 45. There's no field 45 in the PID segment, we're just doing it to demonstrate. Next, it's going to remove unwanted segments. We'll say, look, this will remove any segments that are not named in this string array. So this is, I'll add DG1, just because I know that our message has, our example messages have a DG1 segment in them. And then finally, this will add a new segment, ZZX, which is a user-defined segment that we just made up, and it'll set some field values in that segment. So now I've made my changes. How do I do it? I just copy it all and go back to my script library and say that I want to edit this, make it read-only, remove my program and namespace from the bottom, uncomment the return new script, go to the top and take out the namespace and program, and voila. Remember, it won't let you save it if it won't compile. So Done, save that, and now I can come in. I've got my 10, I'm using just the generic examples that are there. Now watch what happens when I run this script. Take a good look at what's in there. So I'm going to run example script 1A, pass HL7 messages into the script, and run for the entire store. 10, there were no exceptions. I should be able to return to main and see the changes. And there they are. There's my new message control ID. Patient's last name was set to nobody. I go into here, I should see something way out in field 45. It says it's unknown because there is no field 45 defined, but there's the good that I set that to, as well as ABC. And finally, this ZZX segment, which is undefined, but we created it and added it to the message. Now, this is an example of how easy it is just to use Visual Studio to edit and create your core HL7 scripts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep creating more content. And thank you very much. Have a nice day.